And a very warm welcome to you. This is K24 This Morning. My name is Jeff Mote. The reason I say it's warm for you because clearly in Nairobi and other regions are made to understand it's been a bit chilly. The rains have been pouring as well. So I hope you have your cup of coffee ready and of course ready to engage in the big stories of the day right here on the show. Once again, my name is Jeff Mote. You can get me on I am Jeff Mote on Twitter or at K24 TV as we look at the big stories across your dailies and as well get some much needed analysis from my panel in studio and without as well. As we do that, if you haven't gotten yourself a copy of your PD, I've been told Mombasa, it's raining quite a bit. You don't have to leave the house and, have to contend with the rains to get your copy. You can get that straight to your phone. It's only 10 shillings, by the way, and the number that you need, star 550, star 4 hash. Once again, that number, star 550, star 4 hash. Dial that number and get yourself a copy of your People Daily straight to your phone. It's brought to you by the People Daily and Safaricom. And even as you do that, you don't need any mobile app for that. You don't need any data on your phone for that. Just that 10 shillings and the number star 550, star 4 hash. Dial that number and get yourself a copy of your People Daily there, of course, to get the big stories of the day. Let's start from there, find out what the big story is as you download your copy of the PD. Front page, it wasn't me, Matiang'i disowns arrests. CS distances himself and police from night raids at Senator's home, says he had no interest in outcome of county revenue debate. Yesterday, they had been summoned by the Senate, by the Security Committee to answer those particular allegations. He went there with DCI boss George Kinoti and Interior PS as well, Karanja Kibisho, to answer those particular questions. That makes the front page of the PD today. Also on the front page of the PD, revealed secrets of the COVID toll-free number. Most scholars on coronavirus emergency line want to talk about relationships and job losses, with a few talking about abortion. This coming in yesterday, revealed by Health CAS Mercy Mwangangi as to what really are concerning Kenyans as they reach out on that particular COVID toll-free number. And that story can be found as well on page 9 of your People Daily. Looking on as well as you look at that, page 5 of the PD, broke counties await Treasury billions. Of course, at this particular point in time, as the tussle continues, as they move to the 10th time they debate this on the floor of the House, what really happens for the counties starved of cash and at a cash crunch. That story is found on page 5 of your People Daily today. We move it along to the front page of the Standard now. The Spectator, they call him. Big office, no power. For months, he dismissed reports that he was a stranger in government, but now Deputy President William Ruto generously shares his frustrations on social media and tea parties at his residence. That's what they're talking about on the front page of the Standard. Also in the Standard, senators go gaga over Matiang'i. Senators summoned Interior CS Fred Matiang'i to explain the arrest of 3 legislators on Monday, but when he showed up, they fell over themselves to thank him for his diligence and supporting their work. Change of tone and turn of events on the floor of the House as far as that committee hearing is concerned. It was a closed door committee hearing, by the way, and that story can be found on page 9 of your Standard this morning. Front page of the Daily Nation now, Ruto ready for poll, but who will he partner with? Waiguru, Mudavadi and Jumwa had been touted as a possible running mates right there. Keen to ensure his first stab at the presidency is successful, Deputy President William Ruto's team is seeking a person who commands a large political constituency. Question is, who will it be? That story can be found on page 5 of your Daily Nation today. Also on the front page of the Daily Nation, ministry limps to COVID-19 peak as reagents run out. Of course, and even as the reagents run out, the big question in terms of accountability of how the monies have been spent, the donations have been used as well, is a key critical point. And that story is on page 7 of your Daily Nation today. You get more of that particular story right there. Finally, from page of the Star, how they killed my father, Mutula Jr. speaks. Senator talks about his dad's death and why his killers may never be found. Talking about this particular moment and why in his particular circumstances he feels that this particular death could be a cold case. Senator Mutula Kilonzo died in his Manzoni home on May 8th, 2013. That story makes front and center of your Star this morning. As always, we love to hear from you. We love your feedback. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote or at K24 TV. Our WhatsApp number also scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And even as we do that, we'll have a question of the day that you'll be asking right here on the show. We'd love for you to weigh in on that. Give us your thoughts, your comments on that. Let's have it up on screen. There you go. Do you believe CS Matiang'i was clueless on the senator's arrest? It's front page of the PD. He says it wasn't him and disowns this particular arrest. So the question is, who was it? Do you believe CS Matiang'i was clueless on the senator's arrest? You can get us on that WhatsApp number scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We'll be reading them right here on the show later on. This is what we're waking up to this morning. My panel is ready to discuss this and give us analysis on these and more stories. Good morning. This is your newspaper review. Good morning. Let's get to my panel. In studio, if it's a Thursday, you usually know he'll definitely be here walking in with now what we call his Thursday swagger. Gabriel Muthuma, governance expert. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you doing?
Very well.
It's a cold Nairobi.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are hoping, things will get better.
Absolutely.
Some sun. We need some sun.
True.
Oh, yes.
Somebody who's used to cold weather and running in the morning, it's part of what they do. He says,
from Kaptagat.
And this, he does it. Oliver Karori, lawyer and political analyst as well. Good morning. How have the roads been? Have you been running in the morning now with the change of weather?
No, in the evening.
In the evening? Okay, so you're still keeping fit, you're still training?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic stuff. He's joining us, of course, on the show. And getting us from Machakos via Skype, Millie Luanga, governance expert, chiming in on the conversation today. Good morning, Millie.
Good morning.
Karibu sana, welcome to the show.
Asante.
Asante sana. Let's get right to it. Even before you set the stage, I want us just to give quick comments, 10 seconds each on this one. When you look at the front page of the PD, Gabriel,
yes,
what's your reaction when the head of the interior says it wasn't him, an arrest that was pretty much orchestrated? You could see 3 senators overnight having police outside their homes, yet the CS says he was clueless about this. Do you believe that?
Well, it wasn't, when you say it wasn't me, it has several meanings. But what I'm concerned about is he may not have been the one who did the actual arrest like we also, but definitely, I'm 100% sure he had information.
Oliver?
Of course, that is a public relations statement.
Mm-hmm. So when you say public relations, do you mean that he's lying?
Yes, of course. Because when he says it wasn't me, it means a lot of other things.
Right.
Because are we to say that when they are arresting senior government officials like the senators, the CS did not know? Are you saying the CS does not own a set of a television or a Twitter handle or anything that can get information?
Exactly.
That is a lie.
Okay.
Sitting at the upper echelon of the security sector, anything of that magnitude had to have his blessing, or at least it must have been within his knowledge.
Okay, Millie, let me get you in on this one very quickly. Front page of the PD, CS Matiang'i disowning the arrest that we saw live on television. It was broadcast, and even when he was asked about it on that day, as the arrests were going on, he had nothing to say to the media. Do you believe that statement that he made?
10 seconds is too little for me to say what I have to say about this. Because, one, this is the same Matiang'i who has been using a very heavy hand on Kenyans right from 2017, and we've seen it throughout, and he has made no apologies about it. Now, when he says it wasn't me, and we also the orchestrated attack on the 3 senators, I think it's telling. It means that somebody realizes that he's made a blunder, but is unwilling to take responsibility for actions that he's been very willing to take responsibility for before.
Okay, as you can see, very many people wondering really that particular headline and what it portends for the CS security and the ministry as a whole. Let's set the stage on this particular story. Now, journalists yesterday were kicked out of the Senate Security Committee meeting with Interior CS Fred Matiang'i and Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai as the two were grilled over the dramatic arrest of 3 senators on Monday. As Giverson Minor now reports, there was no reason given by the Senate committee to bar the journalists from covering the event that has attracted a huge public interest. Let's take a look at that story.
On Monday, 3 senators, including Christopher Langat of Bomet, Cleophas Malala of Kakamega, and Steve Lelegwe of Samburu were arrested by police under unclear circumstances. This happened even as the Senate convened a 9th special sitting to debate the contention that bases revenue allocation formula. The move was seen as an attempt by the state to prevent the senators from attending the sitting as they were deemed to be anti-government-backed revenue-sharing formula. The 10 a.m. Wednesday meeting came as a shocker to journalists as they were barred from covering the event and ejected out of the parliament buildings by the Senate committee. The infamous arrest of the 3 senators had gathered a huge public interest. The media could only get 4 pictures shared by the Ministry of Interior, one showing the CS driving himself in the car, one showing arrival together with the Inspector General of Police, and another showing DCI boss George Kinoti as part of the meeting. Some senators took to the social media to call out the decision to bar media coverage, calling it unconstitutional. Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen quoted Article 118 of the Constitution that prohibits exclusion of the public, including the media, from parliamentary sittings unless in exceptional circumstances determined by the Speaker, adding that a committee chair does not have the powers to exclude the media from its sittings, and therefore the Senate Security Committee disregarded the law. Makueni Senator also joined Murkomen in condemning the act. According to inside sources who attended the meeting, Matiang'i was quoted telling the committee chaired by Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji, "I'm not interested in whichever way the outcome of the vote on the formula will go. It is not under my docket, and I'm neither interested nor concerned about the outcome." End of the quote. According to the Media Council of Kenya, the treatment meted out on journalists by the committee's chair Yusuf Haji, the senator for Garissa, was not only unacceptable but representative of a worrying trend where journalists in the course of duty are barred from crucial proceedings of the legislative bodies, both at national and county levels, without justifiable reasons. The Inspector General was quoted saying it was purely an operational issue. It was work with no malice. It was just a coincidence that it happened on the same day the Senate was having a sitting. End of the quote. The two distanced themselves from allegations of malice even as the House resumes next week to debate the revenue allocation formula for a record 10th time. Giverson Mana, K24.
Oliver, it was just a coincidence it happened on the same day that the bit of revenue allocation was happening. That's what he said concerning that particular issue. But the funny thing is that the senators were all taken to their respective counties and the police stations, and charges dropped after that. Why all of this effort only to drop charges at those particular stations?
First of all, Mote, it must be known to the public that 2 weeks ago, the DPP launched guidelines on whether to charge or not. So the question we'll first of all ask is, was the DPP involved in these arrests? Right. Because that is where we begin. Secondly, the other thing is this: there is no coincidence in politics. And the most dangerous thing that Mustiambai and his people must be told is there is a danger for any nation when we try to use police force or police brutality to influence political outcomes. It comes with a heavy price. And he should know that any time a senator speaks, an elected leader speaks, he speaks on delegated legislation. He carries delegated sovereignty from the people. Anything you do to an elected leader is a direct affront to those people who voted for that leader, because them being there, they represent something. There are several ways of how we have seen leaders in the past being arrested. Are we saying that day just because there was a vote? Why the whole platoon of policemen around senators, if it was not to intimidate them?
Right.
And then the other thing is this: if today you want to arrest somebody, why create all the ruckus around the person? Just go call the person, and either DCI in their village or DCI headquarters in Kiambu Road, that is sufficient. And there is a way the Constitution has talked about that. Article 49, Article 50. It gives a way how you treat arrested people. You don't treat senators or elected leaders, for that matter, as terrorists or some very bad crimes, humanity crime suspects. Right. That is a danger. But coming back to whatever Mutiambai was trying to say, he's the IG. He has to wiggle through so that the force doesn't look bad.
Right.
You have...
Gabi, when you hear this particular statement, and when you look at really what happened on that particular day, night coming into the morning, we had platoons of GSU and DCI detectives camping at these particular senators' homes, only to realize that one of them was being taken in because of distributing sanitizers and masks. When you think about the alleged crime and the force that's being used to arrest this particular person, clearly they're not flight risks, because we know where they live, we know where they work. Why this particular show of force?
And Jeff, and that's why I believe, you know, the debate that we should be having this morning is necessarily not about the what they had done, it is the how. You know, the arrest came. And I believe everybody watching this, even though they may not have that shred of truth in it, they will definitely they will definitely try and bring the two together. This is the revenue allocation bill that was happening that particular day in the Senate, and the arrests. The senators have, had their chance. Some have actually hyped it. But if you look at the how, then it tells you there was more than, than what everybody saw. It is, and I'm glad, by the way, I'm glad what happened yesterday, that there was an office that was set in the Senate, a liaison, office that will actually be able to engage between the senators and the security officers, which is both the IG's office and the, Matiang'i's office, which is a good thing. And I think if we move by setting up officers that will help alleviate such a situation, then I believe we can actually put everybody at ease. But then the other thing also that comes into play is what Mutyambai has said. He said, you know what, it's not that we just came to do this. We had actually summoned all these 3 senators. So it is not something that we woke up to do. We had summoned them on Saturday. Everybody was summoned at their respective counties. They just didn't show up. And he goes on to say, actually, one of them said, send them to Nairobi. And when they had that discussion with, I think, the security apparatus in the particular county, he went on to switch his phones off. So I think now we've come from what me and you saw on TV to the he said, she said thing. Right. But coming back to what the CS said, I think, Jeff, in communication you're given a platform sometimes to keep quiet. And at this one, I think it would have been better for the IG of police to do the talking. That, I believe, would have actually softened the issues. The issue about off-camera in Senate, Wakili will tell you, this is something that usually happens. In fact, if he is representing somebody, he can actually beg for the cameras to be, to exit the room. Right. And depending on what it is that you're discussing, then the speaker or the head or the chairman of that particular committee may actually grant those wishes. So I don't think it's far-fetched or anything when it comes to Parliament, that being a meeting in camera, that is neither here nor there. That just happens. But on this one, it wasn't me. I think it may augur badly with people than just keeping quiet. I wish he would have just said, you know what, on this one, I'll plead the fifth.
Millie, I'll have you in on this one as well, even as we have to piece together what could have happened inside that closed-door meeting. Front page of the Senate, of the Standard, rather, talking about senators who summoned Matiang'i, falling over themselves to thank him for his diligence and support of their work. This is the same Parliament that talks about overreach by the executive, yet when they do have the chance to hold them to account and exercise their oversight role, they're busy lauding him for what he's done instead of asking the critical questions that, if indeed it wasn't you, how did this happen on your watch? Are they the ones to blame for the woes that come their way?
I think to a large extent, yes. Remember that we have been celebrating access to parliamentary proceedings since the decision that was passed by the former Speaker, Marende. And for them to have asked media to go out, it leaves a lot of speculation. You see different headlines, different issue. One, we are told they were falling over themselves. Another, we are told that they have sent him back and said that they want a written response. In another one, we are told that they were busy congratulating him for support he has given to their projects in their areas. It is a total shame, and it is unfortunate that in Kenya today, after all the gains we have made in as far as access to information is concerned, that they would have done that. And for this critical issue where they're sitting for the almost 11th time, that they would want to now suddenly sit in secret. Well, they've been doing all the things that should have embarrassed them in public. Now this, that is going to give them some impetus, it's something that now they would want to do in secret. It is quite questionable. I think that some of the gains we have made in as far as good governance, as far as transparency is concerned, are things that we cannot take like or try to go back on.
And as you look at that, Oliver, I'll come to you because, as Gabriel said, probably there was some reason to have this behind closed doors. But this was something that played out in the public, and really it was an issue that some people feel Kenyans should have known. and get accountability as to why their representative was handled the way he was.
I think the whole issue was a public interest issue. And then again, there is the other aspect of the colonial mindset that still reigns in this country. Despite the Constitution 2010 coming in, there are people who still feel that security in this country is so private an issue, but that's a colonial mindset. When you read Article 118 and when you read the values, Article 10 of our Constitution, on our national values, one of it is public participation. You must know that anything happening within Parliament has public interest in it. The public must participate by just knowing whatever is happening. And by also this being a security issue, trying to close it away from the public raises more questions and more doubts than it even helps the whole process. And because this was an issue that played out in the public there, everybody saw when they were arresting Malala. Everybody saw when they were arresting Senator Langat. Everybody saw what happened to Lelegwe. So there is nothing, it wasn't like they were going to ask them the strategy of whatever is happening in Somalia with KDF. It was just normal things of why did you arrest him, where was the order. Those are common things. True, the other thing, the chairman of a committee cannot give himself powers more than that which he has been given by direct law or standing order. You can double guess the standing orders, but you can't double guess the Constitution. The Constitution at Article 118 clearly says that for you to abrogate that or to close out the public, it must be from the Speaker, not from the chair of a committee. And you must know that the chairs of the committee don't sit there. They are not the representative of the Speaker. They are not. They are there on a different jurisdiction of their own.
So on this particular issue, is there anything that can be done to address what just happened yesterday, or is it too far down the bridge right now?
We must actually, by even calling it out, that it was wrong to kick out the media, it is a process of trying to make sure that people know where their rights can get and where responsibilities arises. So whether something can be done or not is in another realm altogether, but we must condemn it for what it is. It is a wrong.
Right. And Gabriel, because we've always said that when it comes to...
And then again, maybe to say this, senators must be reminded that when they were being arrested, they talked about clawing back democracy and all this. But now when it comes to this, and they go to bed with the same people they were accusing them of clawing back democracy, that is where the whole thing gets muddy.
Right. Gabriel, I'll come to you on this one because very many times people have asked, it almost feels like CS Matiang'i and the interior docket is above the law to a certain extent. And even when it goes to this particular session, as you can see, he gets some people looking at it like special favor, where you can chase the media out. The chair says they shouldn't be here. Ask the journalists who are in the room, who invited you for this, and kicks them out on this particular one.
Actually, that has been alleged many times. But I want to concentrate on the issue of kicking out the media. The reason why I'm saying it, I've seen it happen before. And so what I was saying is it may have looked bad on this instance, but this is a normal occurrence within the Senate. And I've had even CSs, some that have been called upon to Parliament, they would order to produce certain paper or communication that they don't want to be on live TV or, as you call it, in front of cameras, and that actually has been granted. So what I'm saying is that this is not an isolated incident. It has happened before, and I believe it will continue happening again. But that's I think the substance of what we are discussing is, first of all, is our articles of mainly the Articles 24. Article 24 of our Constitution, which guarantees, our freedoms. The fact that you can come at the wee hours of the morning, and I think this is where Wakili, is making his point, and huddle these people out. At some point, we are told the electricity and waters were disconnected, so that you can bring them out. And then once they are arrested and you spend so many hours taking them to their counties, they are released. So, it's so, it's very casual. And we're like, why would we spend so much energy in an instant whereby we know this senator will come back to his area of representation the weekend after?
Right.
Why don't we just, and I think if the setting up of the office within the Senate, the liaison security office, I hope it may actually be able to alleviate some of these issues that are happening. Because let me tell you, it does not look good in the eyes of the common mwananchi when he realizes, hang on a minute, this is an elected leader who has been hounded out. And by the way, all of us are equal in the eyes of the law. Right. But you see, we've always given, elected leaders an upper hand. They are somewhat, we would be okay if they are treated with some kid gloves here and there. But that also does not give them room to become, to mess up, right, just because they know they are somewhat protected, So as much as we discuss about this issue, I am more concerned, Jeff, not of what they had done, but how this was done. It actually looked bad.
Okay.
Because from a naked eye, somebody who did not know that these people had prior charges, the police had reached out to them like Mutiambai is telling us, it would actually, I can see when so many people are talking about going back to the old days, I can see where they are coming from.
Right.
And I hope, and honestly I hope, those are places that we left, because it was a deep dark. I mean, you're talking about, Akili probably will tell you this, I know he's read in his books, you're talking about where the government machinery back then, they would hold you incommunicado, and without trial, without nothing, and they would hold you for years. So I think we should not even try playing around, with such mentalities,
right,
or moving, or Kenyans thinking that is a channel that we would want to open anytime soon. I think Kenya has moved past that, and I think these issues that we are reading are issues to be sorted in an orderly manner in a democratic country like ours.
Okay, and of course we want your thoughts and comments, of course, and feedback on what we're talking about, even as we go through this particular story. Front page of the PD talking about CS Matiang'i saying it wasn't him. He disowns the arrest that took place. That makes basis of our question this morning. Let's have it up on screen. Do you believe CS Matiang'i was clueless on the senator's arrest? So once again, do you believe CS Matiang'i was clueless on the senator's arrest? The WhatsApp number right there on the bottom of the screen. You can get us on WhatsApp. You can also get me at I am Jeff Mote or at K24TV. I have a tweet coming in right here from John Mwaneki saying the problem is the senators usually want the people on their side, and when we do support them, they fail us. See what happened yesterday. Failed state. Okay. John, I hear you on that. You can keep them coming in, of course, at I am Jeff Mote. You have a WhatsApp message as well. Let's look at that very quickly. Jeff, Matiang'i might not have ordered the arrest, but what concrete steps did he take to rectify unacceptable actions by his juniors? Matiang'i knows Senate can't do anything to him because before you know, the investigation will take political and or tribal angles. So that's what they feel from that particular one right there. Keep them coming in. You can get me, of course, at I am Jeff Mote or at K24TV on Twitter. You can also send the WhatsApp number, send a message to the WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen. If you've missed out on that story, you can get it straight to your phone wherever you are across the country. It's brought to you by the People Daily and Safaricom. The number that you need to get your PD to your phone is *550*4#. Once again, that number *550*4#. Dial that number, get yourself a copy of your People Daily straight to your phone. You take a short break on this side. When you come back after the break, making headlines on the dailies right now, even in silence. Ruto ready for poll, but who will he partner with? That's a question. The Standard calling him the Spectator. Big office, no power. What moves left for the DP who seems like an outsider in his own government? Is he really an outsider? We talk about that after the break. This is K24 This Morning.